Well, folks, welcome to this episode of The Rumble. My guest today, I'll go straight into it, Atul Churamani. He's a guy who will manage to try and really tell you the complexities of the music business as it exists today. It used to be very simple. Get a composer, make a song, put it in the film. If you sell, you get money, everybody shares it. But now it's gone, I would say, almost out of control. So what is, welcome to the show first of all, Atul.
Thank you.
What is the present situation of a singer? He was excluded in the old days from earnings beyond the first earning that he gets for singing the song. After that, there's no royalties coming in for the singer in the old days. Now, what is the halat of film songs?
Okay, so what has happened is that in 1994, the Copyright Amendment recognized a performer's right. Unfortunately, there was no revenue for the performer. It was a non-remunerative right. The 2012 amendment makes it a remunerative right. So technically now what should happen is that when a singer's work is being sold, is being streamed, anytime the work is out there, they are supposed to be paid a royalty which comes in via a society for the performers.
Okay.
So that's the difference, but the implementation hasn't happened yet because there are certain complexities in the act which need to be sorted out.
The act?
Well, it's an act which has been written in a slightly nebulous fashion. So there's a lot of stuff that needs clarity.
Or is it just technology has muddied the waters?
A bit of both, I would imagine, because there are things that are happening today which were not envisaged when, you know, So there has been discussion worldwide about copyright acts needing to be amended in toto to accommodate new. In fact,
okay. So if I were to just for the lay listener, if I were to just break down a film song,
okay,
try.
Yeah.
There is a producer who's got the money. He has singers, or rather, he has a composer to start with.
Yep.
And he gets hold of a lyric writer who writes the lyrics.
Yeah.
And more often than not, the singer is chosen by the composer. So it's all under approval.
Yeah.
So you have a composer, a writer, and a singer.
Right.
And they go and do the song.
Correct.
And the producer takes that song and synchronizes his visuals to that song. And it is then that final sound recording is sold to a music label those days. Now the music label, are they still there?
Oh, very much.
They do.
Very much.
So, and their forms of exploitation, which used to be records, CDs, and all those things for which you're already laughing, so all those have gone.
Kind of. Yeah. So in India, I would say it's still about 10-12% of the market. Globally, it's actually 51%. Physical is still 51%.
They still have those dealers and those shops out there.
True.
In India, we've closed them all very fast.
True.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
So the entire revenue system today, as far as Indian music, forget about the rest, it's all electronic. I mean, in the sense, all net-based or streaming or radio play. So there are no physical sale.
But what's happened is technology has fragmented the usage and therefore the revenues also to the music industry. So what used to be
streams.
They've added more streams, but they've added more very low-paying streams.
Okay.
So you need to be everywhere to collect the money. But when you add the monies up, it's probably less than what you are making only on physical product, on that one single stream.
Okay, but people are chasing after those multiple streams.
Sure.
It's all organized. Sure. Reporting is good.
Now you've touched on I think the crux of the issue. Okay. The issue is that nobody trusts anyone. Okay. And that hasn't been helped by the fact that that complexities exist in the reporting manner in telecom, in radio and television. Now the law tried to address that, saying that television had to give them cue sheets in advance, 15 days in advance of usage. 15 days in advance of usage, which is almost impossible. Yeah, you know. To me, it's all very simple. My life is black and white. So either you can do it or you can't do it. And I think technology allows you to go online with every single form of usage except public performance, which is playing music in restaurants, bars, clubs, etc.
Speakers and stuff.
Yeah. So if you were to be able to put in online reporting platforms into radio, TV, telecom, etc., this mistrust would go. And I think that's really the need of the hour.
But would it be possible to electronically monitor all these streams so that there are no humans involved in it, no opportunity for people to do a little fiddle on it, everything is paka?
Yes. The intention should be not to meddle with it. Because see, there are always clever people. There are hackers. So you can mess if you really want to mess. But that's not the idea. The idea is to jointly work together and increase revenues. Today, the telecom industry that sells music on the mobile needs a music label for marketing the music as much as the music label needs the telecom partner for getting the music out there. Okay. So it's really not I dip into your pocket, you dip into mine. I mean, we need to go out there and increase the pie. People have to understand that.
It's not fighting for a larger slice of it, it's increase the pie.
Increase the size of the pie.
And there is a huge amount of scope for that. We have
Massive.
not even scratched the
Massive.
surface.
Once in pure jest, when I was at Saregama, we actually sat down and did a calculation of what the industry could earn from public performance revenues. Today, your IPRS revenues are in the region of about 40 crores, PPL is about 70 crores. That number, hold on to your hat, came to 18,000 crores.
Wow.
That's the potential.
Okay.
What are we doing?
This money would have been shared by the owner of the music, the singer who sang the first version, and the writer and the composer.
Not just the first version. Any singer who sang it. Because there is royalty that accrues to every sound recording, every sound recording, and to the composer and lyric writer, apart from the owner of both those works. So it's a publisher in one case, it's a music label in the other case.
But in these days when it is the stars, charisma, and whatever that brings people to the theatres and of course listen to the songs also, would it not come to a point when singers will have to write away their rights to get a song, otherwise they'll say to hell with you. I am not prepared to give away such huge amounts of royalties to you. I think Amir Khan was the one who said that my face sells the music.
Absolutely. So, we have to understand what we're doing. We are dealing with film music in one instance and non-film music in another instance. In film music, it is the actor and actress that sell the music. In non-film music, it is the artist who sells the music, the performer who sells the music performer. Now, what you need to do is you need to apply some standard, like composers and lyric writers have a standard in terms of mechanical royalties. You need standards in terms of performer royalties. And the Copyright Act defines the performer as anyone from a singer to a actor, choreographer, juggler, anyone. So there is something about performance and live performance.
So one of the things that we heard was that basically music is now split very evenly between what comes out of a film and what comes out of non-film, and they are completely different. Not types of music, but they're dealt with differently. So when you come back, we'll find out how do they deal with them separately. So before we go any further, we are a unique country that has most of its music coming from cinema, which is not there. It used to be there, I guess, in the West, but no longer. So how different is the Western scene from our scene?
Well, it's simple. Just look at non-film music. The non-film music popularity is really centered around the artist. So in the West, you have
albums
Michael Jackson or a Bryan Adams or whatever.
Madonna,
in India, you'd have a Raghu Dikshit or a Pentagram or whatever being the performer and the popularity. So
Colonial Cousins.
So there's Colonial Cousins. So there's no ambiguity over there. Yeah. It's about the performer, and the performer is entitled to make his royalties. Yeah. Film music is slightly different because it's the face of the actor that sells the song. It's not really the singer. So you probably, remember a lot of movie clips, remembering who the stars were. You may not know who the singers were. So we have to understand that we can't ape the West blindly when it comes to sharing of royalties and things like that from public performance. Because in the West, public performance happens because it's a Michael Jackson hit. Yes. In India, it happens because it's a Shah Rukh Khan hit. Yeah. So, and the performer...
So if Shah Rukh Khan goes and sings his own song, which he didn't sing in the original, what happens in a case like that?
Well, at the moment, nothing happens. But the fact is that he's identified as a performer. Yeah. He's a performer actor, he's a performer singer. Correct. So he should get performer's royalties.
Or rather double something.
Sure. But it's like a composer and lyric writer who's the same entity. Person. Okay. So he gets his share as a composer and he gets his share as a
that brings us to the question about lyricists. Are they being considered in this whole game, or are they just left out?
No, very, very much. So Three things in music have copyright: composition, lyrics, and sound recording.
Yeah.
So lyrics are very much a part of it.
Even now they are given same importance as a composer.
Absolutely. In fact, in IPRS, in India, we had a situation where the division between the 50% that went to
the writer,
the writers was 30% to the composer and 20% to the lyric writer.
Yeah.
That's been corrected now. It's 25-25.
Oh, so they all become equal.
Everyone's equal.
Okay. So now what happens to the future of cinema as we see it today? Songs are getting cheaper and cheaper to produce. I mean, just to produce a song is no big deal. Any singer can come and sing, because like you were yourself saying that nobody cares who the singers are. People go up and pick up a cassette. Even during our days, to pick up a cassette, just look at the hero's face on the cover. They don't know who sang it. It didn't matter. But will this situation change in India, or do you think that's still a long way off in our country?
I don't think it's going to change. I don't think it's a question of really dumbing down the business. I think we've dumbed down the business enough. It's time to put a stop to it. We can't keep listening to music on 128 kbps, 32 kbps, and 64 kbps. This music is made for cinema halls. So actually, the cost of doing it has not come down, because A, the music directors are being paid more as fees. The lyric writers are being paid more as fees.
Yeah, but who's bothered about them being the music directors?
Well, if you look at some of the big films that are happening today, look at A Happy New Year, look at A Highway, look at Two States.
Who did the music? I mean, I'm sorry,
Rahman has done the music, Shankar Ehsaan Loy have done the music, Vishal Shekhar have done the music. Now these boys take a lot of pains. They have a lot of musicians working. Those guys need to be paid. They need to get into studios. They need to be paying good engineers to do good mixes. Mastering has become important.
They can hear it on a phone.
It's not just on a phone. You have to first listen to it in the cinema hall.
It
can't sound crappy in a cinema hall.
Okay, but that's assuming people are going to theatres.
Well, the fact is, you are being hired as a music director to create it for the film in a cinema hall. Okay. So you can't do it at home on a laptop. There's no way you can do that. Non-film music you can. And you can, go ahead with only digital releases where 128 kbps could be your best possible, audio quality.
Okay.
But not for film music. That doesn't work. So the costs are definitely going to go up. When
you don't think they can just sit at home and make the music do a 5.1 mix and just stick it onto the...
Unless
everything is digital also.
Yeah, unless we accept the fact that every movie is not going to go into the cinema hall, which is not the case today. Today, 99% of the films, at least that are made, end up in cinema halls. Okay. So if you have a category of movies that's really going to go out only onto the net, then you have the opportunity of bringing down costs. Absolutely. Well,
or
whatever, right? But if they're not going into that big screen which require that big sound, that's the time when you're probably going to end up doing things on the laptop in smaller studios, not such high quality.
Okay, let's take a song like something from Bob Dylan. He recorded it, I guess, in the late 60s. Early 76, late 60s, something like that.
He just recorded last year.
All right. But his earlier songs like,
Blowing in the Wind.
Yeah, Tambourine Man and whatever. Those were recorded on, I think, quarter-inch masters or maybe something like that, 2-track. But his stuff is listened to today. Now they can go and put any amount of technology into it, and when they have 400 channels, it's still the words and the song and the tune that matter. So maybe the background score might have things which are more demanding.
Well, I think the first thing with a song is to figure out what you're doing. Because if you're a singer-songwriter who's into the popular genre of music, you need to have something that you can sing. There needs to be a song which passes the old grey whistle test. You have to remember the song.
Yeah.
But if you're doing electronic dance music today, you probably don't even have a melody.
Yes.
Right? You're going through a series of songs. So it really depends on the kind of music that you're doing. But yes, there is opportunity to showcase better songwriting today than there might have been in the past, simply because the pressure of trying to do it at home without fancy technology and sound is going to push you to do that song better and better and better.
Well, at least the way I see it in recent times, there is a music director cropping up every day, every film. So where is the importance for these people? I'm not saying just because they are one-off, they're not good. But why on earth are they paying these astronomical amount of money and pushing everything to a point where everything is unprofitable?
I think there's a lot of insecurity among the creative community. They don't believe in their shelf life. So everyone's trying to capitalize very quickly on this little popularity window that they get.
Okay.
You have to have people who feel secure. You have to have people who are willing to take...
And devote their life to this one particular trade.
I mean, we're talking about Bob Dylan. He's been recording now for how long? For
40 years.
60 years?
Oh, 60 years maybe.
Possible, right? So the thing is that people don't start to say, I'm going to finish very soon. You know, it's like going out to bat saying, I'm going to score 20 runs today. Nobody does that. You go out to hit a century every time you go out to bat. So you've got to go in there thinking that this is a long-term career for you.
But if the odds are all stacked up against you...
The odds are not stacked up against you. And see, what's happening is that there is going to be a big blurring between film and non-film stars when it comes to music. There was a time when you had Lata Mangeshkar, Asha Bhosle, Kishore Kumar, Mohammad Rafi, Mukesh, etc., who essentially sang film songs.
Yeah.
And then later, they went out and did non-film music.
Yes.
Today, I think, and they dominated the industry, and that was it. You had a handful of people who dominated composing, lyric writing, and singing. Today, it's a case where everybody's getting a bit of a chance. They're probably going to end up doing between 20 and 100 songs in their careers.
Okay.
Now, they're not going to run away and become a car salesman. They're going to continue to do music, and they'll do non-film music.
I guess that's the crux of the whole thing. These guys who are musicians, no matter what the scene is, who's making money, not making money, they will remain musicians. So for them, there has to be a system which will look after them. And that's where the long-term part of it comes, especially sharing money from publishing, which is where their long-term revenues are going to come. Never happened before in India, but when we come back in the last segment, find out how do they go about collecting and what is the kind of money that they make. We'd all like to know how much is Javed Akhtar making. So now, what is your advice to composers? Now, if they don't have a product to compose for, I mean, they don't have a movie, and nobody's given them a movie, and he's got all the tunes buzzing in his head. What should he do? Should he just keep them aside or record them in a scratch and leave it? Or should he go and produce them? Because after all, it's a body of work that will make him...
You know, in my experience in dealing with creative people, I find that they get bored very easily.
Okay.
They get sick of something very fast. So my advice to them is that if you have something, you're hot about something, record it now because you can do it and put it out. Don't go cold on something. Don't let an idea go cold on you.
So put it out means you, again, go on YouTube, make a video or I don't know, what's the way of doing it?
So, well, the thing is that the number of avenues of exploitation have increased. So you have everything available now from doing CDs. You can do singles. You can go online on the phone. You can go online on the web. You can do it live.
Sing
you
it
make
in the
a
lobby
video.
of a hotel.
You make it on. You put it on video. You put it on YouTube, on the other audiovisual platforms. So there are lots of things that you can do. Now the fact is that you're a composer, and you're going to wonder how the hell you're going to get all this together.
No, how are you going to sustain yourself in the years to come? You might get one movie and nothing is coming down the road for many, many months. I have friends of mine in Madhav who are still sitting at home.
You have to keep doing music. That's what you do. Because you can't sit there waiting for that phone call. Or you can't sit there making phone calls hoping for that break.
So that will work only when you are going to start a publishing firm. You're about to start or you have started. So if you are able to take on all these composers under your wing.
So, well, basically what's the idea? The idea is empowering the artist. Because today technology allows everyone to self-release music. There are not enough labels to sign all the artists out there or wannabe artists out there.
Yeah.
And definitely a lot of artists don't want to sign with labels. They want to retain their rights.
Correct.
All we're doing is we're trying to facilitate their efforts. We are saying that instead of you spending hours trying to figure out what's happening on the mobile phone, I spent 3 years in the mobile business. I can't still claim to be an expert on what's happening. How much time are you going to spend to figure this out? And while you do that, who's going to compose music? Yes. So the thing is to set up an infrastructure, because we all know that this is really a platform for marketing yourselves to get concerts where your money is. This is not remunerative. Music companies are struggling to make money off these digital formats today.
Yes.
Don't think you're going to do one song which is Sunday. Everyone's not going to do a Gangnam Style or a Kolaveri D, right? Yeah. And even Kolaveri D was a marketing campaign. It wasn't something that just took off.
That's true.
So you have to concentrate on areas where you are going to make your money and on improving your music.
So if you're a singer, let's talk about it. All these singers out there, just drop whatever you're doing, just listen to this. If you're a singer, what do you tell them to do? They're not getting songs. I mean, no composer's calling them to sing a film song. So, kya karega?
I am saying do non-film music. Non-film music is buzzing today in the amount of activity that is taking place. If you walk down any main street of a major city today, you will find gigs happening which are not gigs about film music.
Yeah.
The thing is that these are not high-paying gigs. So it's not like a big playback singer going out there and charging 20 lakhs.
So those who want to dream of only becoming a Sonu or only becoming a Rafi,
it's a process.
Sonu
didn't become Sonu overnight.
True.
He had to sing a lot of Rafi cover versions. He had to do a lot of Jagaran concerts. He did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So he did all that.
Right?
So the fact is that you have to work your way up. There are people who have that instant hit and become instant, but you can't look for being the exception.
You think that these singers out there should keep at it, or should they switch and become IT? I mean, do you see a future for them?
I see a big future for them. I think the music industry is starting to mature.
How many singers can India take? Male singers?
As many as America can take.
So we are talking about 2 to 5,000 singers?
Possibly.
I mean, fan out all across the country, sing in every town.
Absolutely. It's really about creating good songs and being able to market.
So isn't that a cultural change that we have to put our country through so that they can survive?
It's a question of belief amongst young people that there is life outside of film music. That's what they have to believe in.
That's a fundamental, that's a huge shift. Tectonic plates moving. Don't depend on cinema only.
You've had people who always believed in it and then ran off to cinema. So we've all seen that.
Yes.
But that's really not the point. The point is that there are people who have good music. They can put it out there. We're trying to build an infrastructure to help them do it, to support them do it, and not to waste
their time. And what about radio stations who are supposed to play? I suppose they are under no obligation
Madhav,
to do anything.
There are currently about 240 radio stations. Very few play anything outside film music. Very few.
Yeah.
But there are some who play international music. There are some who play non-film music. Now the government is going to open up 835 news stations.
And the entry price is pretty low is what I hear. I don't know.
That I don't know about.
But again, they'll go back to the revenue.
835 stations is a lot of stations. So totally we'll have about 1100 stations in this country. You cannot play identical music on these stations and survive.
You leave it to radio, they'll do it. They're doing it in Madras. They're doing the same song on all stations.
When they have another 40 stations doing that, they're going to have a problem. Yeah. And the thing is that
identity.
Any service today has to understand that your only differentiation is your content, nothing else.
So, one last thing. As the cities get Wi-Fi covered, what do they call that thing? Call it Wi-Fi. The regular old traditional airwaves, beaming FM signals, this, that and the other, might also become obsolete technology and everything will go into the net. Mm-hmm. Even the radio in your car will operate out of Wi-Fi signal rather than radio signals. So everybody and anybody can be a radio station, technically.
Yep.
Nothing to stop you. No. You have a little thing there and you're just playing and somebody tuning it in the car.
Yep.
So won't all this just go completely out of control?
To people like you and me, we're talking about it being out of control. When you talk to the kids today, it's cool. Because they're able to decipher, what these people are telling them to do. We can't figure out how to make a playlist. But this is something that a lot of kids want to do. Having said that, there is also always going to be an audience there that wants curated playlists.
Okay.
So there's going to be opportunity everywhere. I look at fragmentation as an opportunity. The only thing is you have to get your pricing right. The industry has to get its pricing right. If consumption of music is going up, revenues have to go up. You can't have consumption going up and revenue coming down. That doesn't make
pricing
sense.
Mismatch. I mean, some way we're not exploiting it correctly.
Absolutely.
So Atul, thanks a lot for coming over. It's been lovely talking to you.
Welcome. Thank
you. We can go on talk forever on this subject. Because the numbers are not being fixed. We can do one session on every aspect of music every day. And strangely, the thing is that even people who've got nothing to do with music, they all have an opinion on this one. So thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.